Okay, this is. Tell us a little bit about your first trip to Italy and how maybe you became interested in genealogy and kind of tie that in with maybe your relationship to great granny. Take one.
Okie dokie. Well, Christy and I got Christy interested in Italian for some reason. Well, she worked at the college at UNC, and they happened to have a teacher that had an Italian class. So we both enrolled in the Italian class for a semester, and it was great. It was wonderful. The book was wonderful, and that was great. I mean, so we both picked up Italian pretty readily, at least well enough to be able to, between the two of us, to understand what people were saying more or less, and able to express ourselves. So we decided to go to Italy, and we did. We flew over, and that was obviously my first trip. And let's see, and that's where I met um, Olga and her husband. Wonderful, wonderful people. We met them. We were just walking. We were just in Borgiallo, walking up the hill up to what's up on top there, and Olga was walking the other way, and I just said hello, and she said hello, and that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship. um, and she invited us to see her, and her husband was wonderful, great guy, just one of the best. And so anyhow, we spent a lot of time with them. At that point, we were in a hotel. We had um, we were staying at a hotel. I guess we were there for like 2 weeks or something. And we know we did some sightseeing and what have you, but the highlight of the whole thing was being there with Olga and her husband. Um, they were such great people. So and as we were there, we got a little better with our Italian and what have you. And it was in March, by the way, so the weather wasn't all that great. I mean, it's kind of cold still, and you go up. The further you go on up, the higher the elevation, and you get some pretty cold weather. But we had a great time. It was wonderful, and having Olga and her husband there were perfect. So um, so that was what that was about. And then we flew home. And my next trip there was um, in, what was it? Okay, so I went there. We went there in probably '99 or something, and then I went back in 2000 and maybe it was 2002, I think. I went by myself, and let's see, I went by myself. Oh, and yeah, and well, there were two trips actually that I did. I'm trying to remember where I stayed the second time. Anyhow, I had a great trip then. Um, I was by myself. Oh, I know. I stayed in the building that was owned by a person that Mom knew, and he allowed me to stay in that building. And Mom and Susie arrived because they had um, been in Rome, and and then that she and Susie and Mom came on up and stayed where I was for like a week or something like that. And anyhow, we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. And I introduced them to um, Olga and her husband, and um, anyhow, it was a wonderful trip. And then my last trip, of course, you were with us, so you know all about that. Um, and that was particularly interesting to me because I had seen the ruins of the Aquario establishment up there on the side of the mountain. I could see it from down below, I could see the outlines of it and what have you. But on that trip, then we all were able to go up and actually look around in there and everything. It was like wonderful, just amazing. So I was really happy about that trip. Um, and after that, I forgot all my Italian. I didn't forget it all, but I could probably resurrect it, but I don't know. We'll see. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I sit around studying Italian, I guess. But anyhow, that's that part. What else?